Hi guys, Pete here again from rcairplaneworld.com. Just doing a little review video for you. Here we have a product from KidsToyLover again. Company very much intent on getting younger generation into the radio control hobby, which is a brilliant thing and what the hobby needs, as I've said before in other videos. Here we have a Luiyifei, I'm not even going to pronounce that, but it is a water, land, sky glider. Its model number is YF-350. Very simple thing, obviously aimed at children, but I've got to say at 53 years old I've been having a lot of fun with this thing out the back of the house. Not very often because we've not had great weather. It's been windy, it's been rainy, and this thing is so light it just really needs to be flown on calm days, or maybe just a breeze of a few miles an hour at the most. The first time I flew it, it was in about 10 miles an hour, and it went over. The wind took it. I had zero control, and it went over the hedge into the next field, and I was just dead lucky to find it. It was kind of funny, and I wish I'd got it on video, but I didn't. So anyway, this thing it's an aircraft. It can go on water. I've not had a chance to drive it on water yet, but I would imagine it would be quite fun on water. If I can get to some water, I'll do a little vid of it. But I've been flying it around, and it's interesting. It's, as I say, it's aimed for the younger generation. Very simple. No control surfaces, it's just 2-channel, very simple transmitter, and it's differential motor control. So you've got 2 electric motors, and the power operates both of them, and then the directional control differentiates the speed between the two, and that's what turns it. So I'll power it up in a little bit just to show you. So yeah, very simple to operate. Very, very different. If you're used to conventional radio control, it's a very different way of flying, and it certainly caught me out to begin with. Not only am I trying to deal with the motor power on the wrong stick to what I'm used to, but it's just a completely different method of control and completely different characteristics. But what this thing does, I don't know, it's just fun. You'll see in the flight video. You can't do a lot with it, obviously. It's very limited in its capabilities. But it will loop. If you just put it onto full power, it'll do a nice smooth loop. And then you can just fly it around. You can kind of do a little bit of a stall turn where you go up and down, but that's just a case of experimenting. But it's just nice to fly around, and the secret I found, it took me a few flights to get used to it, but the secret, if you just want to fly it around smoothly, is to have the power almost to zero, to be honest. Have the motor just ticking over, and the directional control you'll hear the 2 motors differ as the speed changes as you turn left and right. But if you're just flying around with motor power, certainly no more than a quarter, it's a great little thing. It's a very relaxing little thing to fly. And then, like I say, if you just whack the motors on to full, it'll do a loop quite nicely. Again, if there's any breeze, it struggles a bit. And then yeah, just fly it around, have a bit of fun. What else can I say? As I say, it's designed for water as well. It's got a very unique and original design, I think. Kind of twin floats, all part of it. In the battery hatch, we have the electronics. Very simple electronics. There's a line of coloured LED lights, the 2 motors. In the box, plain, absolutely nothing to do with it, all ready to go. Transmitter takes 3 AAA batteries, so you will need to buy those separately. That's 3 AAAs, and then 2 batteries, which is good. just single cell lipos, simple USB charger, couple of spare props. That's it. So what I'm going to do, I'll just stop the phone, I'll just power it up, and I'll just show you the motor control. Okay guys, so I've connected the battery. Battery sits in there very nicely. And what you'll get, turn the transmitter on first, then power up the battery. There's no switch, it's just a case of connecting the battery connector. You'll see the coloured LEDs flashing, the red light on the transmitter flashes, and to activate the motor you just need to go full up, full down on the motor stick. The coloured LED lights turn solid, and then you're good to go. It really is that simple. And I'll just show you briefly what I was saying about the motor control. So differential motor control, basically, if you're not touching the rudder stick, we'll call it the rudder stick. If you just use the motor, both motors operate at the same speed. And then if you want to turn, you'll see, so that's turning left. So the right motor kicks in, the left motor doesn't until I go a little bit more, and then it will. And conversely, if you want to turn right, the left motor is going to kick in and the right motor will stop. There you go. So that'll push it round to the right. And that's how it works. And then if you've got the power on, if I move the rudder stick, you'll hear the difference. And that's it. That's just differential motor control. Very simple method. Like I say, no control surfaces whatsoever. But it works well. And for a little kid, if you're a parent with kids, I don't know if there's an age range for these things, but I would say an 8-10-year-old should be fine. Obviously under supervision and not flying it near anybody else or property or anything like that. But if you've got kids, if you've got grandkids, take them to the nearest park. Make sure there's nobody in the immediate vicinity and just have some fun. Or, a little lake, pond. So yeah, so there you go. So that is the YF-350 from KidsToyLover.com. And I can't recall the price off the top of my head, but it's not much money. And honestly, any kid would love that, I would say. Right guys, I've already flown it. I'll put this video together. You'll see it in the air. And yeah, hopefully you might be tempted to pick one up just for a laugh. Cheers guys. Right guys, here we are in the flying field. Beautiful spring day here in the UK with the YF-350 toy aircraft. Just going to give it a little flight to show you guys how it handles and what it can do and what it can't do. So here we go. Right, that was a typical launch for this thing. It really does pitch up. Now I've got to try and keep it in the phone's field of view, which is always easier said than done. It really does pitch up when you put the power on, which is actually how you get it to do a loop. Totally different. It's a little bit gusty, a very little wind today, but this thing is so light, any wind is going to affect it. I've flown it on completely calm day and it's just very cool. It's quite a bit of fun, but any level of wind, any breeze, and it's not so good. But if I can bring it round and put it on full power, maybe do a loop. Here we go. Oh, wow, yeah, not what I would call a loop. And I know the phone didn't get that. So 0 power, just to bring it back down. Let's try again. I think that's the wind is preventing that looping, but I have looped it, and all you do is whack the motors open to full power, and it'll do a nice, quite a smooth loop actually. You got no hope of rolling this thing, but the differential motor control, of course, completely different type of control, completely different characteristics. But you know what, for a little kid, this is a great little toy. Oops. A great little toy. And yeah, for not much money. Let's go and see where that came down. We've got this this plant is called cow parsley here in the UK. Comes out in springtime, and it's tall enough to catch any low flying aircraft, which is exactly what happened there.